Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening on a Monday, a really exciting program in store for today, Heidi. Are you ready for an exciting program?
I am on the edge of my seat.
We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today.
Good.
And I've got a special guest in the show, David Weber, author of Sword of the South. I'm going to be talking to him about sci-fi and fantasy books and movies and why that's so darn popular. Have you noticed there's like more and more sci-fi movies and stuff out?
Yes.
Seems like more than ever before.
That's something I've never gotten into.
I haven't either, but I'm going to talk to him about why it's so darn popular. So I'm excited to chat with him and get the lowdown and the skinny on that. Hey, a new British study found that young people who adopt the goth lifestyle of dark clothing and introspective music are more likely to commit self-harm or attempt suicide than others. So
they needed a study.
They apparently needed to do a study to find that out, which, you know, we shouldn't laugh about it because it really is sad. If you've got a youngster that's into that,
watch them carefully.
Yeah, and maybe you should talk to them and let them know.
Discourage them from that lifestyle.
But also let them know that according to this new British study that could lead to bad things for them. That's why you're concerned. It's not because you're a square. It's because you care. So if you have a youngster that's into that kind of thing, maybe just let them know that you love them. You know, give them an extra hug and let them know that, you know, maybe goth isn't so good. So coming up, going to talk about a dude that really likes Domino's Pizza. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
This is kind of a fun story here, Heidi. A New Jersey man has eaten a medium pizza and 4 Diet Cokes from Domino's Pizza almost every day for 5 years now. Mike Uris estimates he's eaten 2,008 slices of pizza in the last 5 years, starting each day with 6 slices for lunch, then 2 of the Cokes with his lunch, and then he has 1 Coke and a slice of pizza for dinner at 6 p.m., and then he has another Coke and a slice of pizza at supper at 11 p.m.
Wow.
So this guy really, really likes Domino's.
I guess.
I wonder... it doesn't say anything in here about what kind of health
his That's what I was just wondering.
Because I was wondering, as I was reading this, I'm like, you know, that's a lot of pizza. But it doesn't, he eats a medium pizza every day over the course of a whole day. So you'd think you'd kind of get sick of eating pizza.
Oh, you would definitely get sick of it.
But
I mean, and I
love
love pizza.
There's a lot of different varieties of pizza there, so he could choose a bunch of different things.
I don't care. I mean, I like pizza, but there's no way I could do the same
we'll have to
brand
see.
every single day.
Maybe you'd hear, if this is you know, something that works for him, maybe we'll be hearing him in the commercials and all of a sudden there'll be a Domino's diet.
He's
you
going
think?
to be the new Jared?
Yeah, hopefully not. Coming up, we've got a groom that took out some time from his wedding day to save some lives. It really happened because you heard it on the radio. That's coming up in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVWheelator.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVWheelator.com.
Heidi, you know this is true because you're going to hear it on the radio. A groom took some time out of his own wedding to save a couple of lives.
Okay.
How cool is this? Every wedding day is special, but Adam and Julie Hatfield of La Crosse, Wisconsin, they have some extra special memories about that day they said I do. The bride and groom were in La Crosse's Riverside Park posing for photos just before their ceremony, and they heard a man yelling, "Allie, Allie!" They turned to see the man looking over the wall at the Mississippi River below. Then he jumped in. The man's daughter had fallen into the river, and he was attempting to save her. That's when Adam, the groom, sprung into action and jumped over the wall and got down near the water where the man was treading water with the girl in his arms. With the help of the photographer, he pulled both of them to safety. Adam shook hands with the man, but never did get his name as he rushed off to his own wedding. Later, the best man was able to incorporate this into his toast, saying, "What a day. You saved a life, you got a wife." It's a pretty darn good day.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. Makes me feel like maybe I need to...
I was going to say, you didn't save anybody on our wedding day.
I need to get out of the office more. I'm just sitting around here. Meanwhile, there's people drowning and stuff around. I should be there to help them. So this is from the Winona Daily News. I want to make sure I thank them for putting that online so we could read about it. And I think that's a really cool thing.
That's a very cool story.
Dressed in his tux, doing his photos, and he wasn't afraid to leap over the wall and help. Now, here's the thing that I wonder. I wonder how many other people would have just stood by and watched because they were busy.
How how could you? I couldn't.
I couldn't either. I would have leaped over that wall and gone down there. No,
Yeah.
I probably would have broke both of my knees jumping over a wall, but I'd have certainly done what I could to try.
Certainly would have tried.
Definitely. Well, that groom took out time from his own wedding to save some lives, and you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Also, what you're going to hear in just a bit on the John and Heidi Show, going to have an interview with David Weber. He's the author of Sword of the South. We're going to talk to him about why sci-fi and fantasy books and movies and TV shows are so darn popular. That's all coming up later in the show.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Stories like this, first of all, make you smile because it's just so ironic, but it also makes you shake your head because you go, really? I mean, really? There's a dude that owns a local driving school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he was just arrested for drunk driving.
Oh.
He crashed his car in Rio Rancho. Police spokespeople there say John Francis said officers responded to our friend when he reeked of alcohol and had red, bloodshot, watery eyes and slurred speech. He failed miserably when they gave him a field sobriety test. He couldn't even walk a straight line or recite the alphabet. 2 separate breath analysis tests also showed that his blood alcohol level was 4 times the legal limit. Now, that's bad for anybody, but it's really bad when you're the guy that owns a driving school. You're teaching people to drive, and you're driving drunk.
Teaching them the laws.
Please don't teach them that.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Don't drink and drive. I mean, it's a dumb thing to do, and that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
An unidentified German truck driver spotted a car parked outside of a bank and noticed a crowbar and some other tools in the back seat. He's like, that doesn't look right. Convinced he spotted a crook's getaway vehicle and the criminals were about to escape, he ran his truck and rammed it into the side of the car, totaling it. Then he called police, proudly telling them he foiled a holdup by disabling a getaway car. As you might have guessed, about this time the self-employed carpenter who owned the vehicle walked out to see what was left of his vehicle.
Oh, no.
The truck driver now faces a $7,000 fine and possibly will lose his license, plus the cost of repairs to his own car. The driver later admitted that, okay, I might have overreacted.
I may have jumped to conclusions just a smidge.
You know, you don't want to do that. You don't want to destroy somebody else's car just because they have a crowbar in the back seat. Now, I understand what he's doing. He's going, hey, I'm trying to look out for my community.
Right. I mean, it was sweet.
Hats off to you for that, but dunce cap on for you for not making sure there was actually a burglary before you did it.
Oh, man.
So that's our moment of duh. We have your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
And this is your scoop of the day. In Andover, Massachusetts, somebody called to report that there was an item on the side of the road. They wanted the police to go check it out. They thought it was a human torso. That's disgusting. The responding officer reported that it was just a delicious brisket. He didn't say delicious. I'm just assuming that he got there and said, brisket.
I doubt it was cooked. It was probably raw.
I have no idea. That's gross, though, either way. And that's expensive to just throw a brisket out the window. When asked who would play you in a movie about your life, most American men said Tom Hanks. Most American women said Julia Roberts. Other top choices were Denzel Washington, Clint Eastwood, Bruce Willis, Meg Ryan, Halle Berry, Sandra Bullock, and Meryl Streep. Who would play you in a movie about Heidi Small?
Well, she's changed quite a bit, but years ago I would have said without a doubt Meg Ryan.
Okay.
I would have.
Now who would it be?
Probably Sandra Bullock.
Oh yeah. Okay. I can see that. Hubba.
Oh, whatever. I don't look anything like either one of them.
Who would play me in a movie about John Small?
Kevin James.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. A cat named Boss had been hired by an online gift retailer in Romania to be their communications manager. boss is now earning a salary equivalent to $216 a month from catbox.ro. They specialize in personalized gifts. A quarter of boss's salary is paid in cat food, while the rest goes to his owner. There's a cat that was hired. That cat's making more money than I am. So. Ann and Ken Fredericks of Satellite Beach, Florida, celebrated their 60th anniversary earlier this month by eating a bite from their wedding cake that was 6 decades old. From the ER when they had their stomachs pumped. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Ann Fredericks says their children are appalled that they're still eating this ancient dessert, and they admitted that it is a little dry and somewhat crusty.
Ew. Well, I'm sure it's in the freezer.
We don't have any of our wedding cake, do we?
No.
We do still have, I saw a candy bar in the freezer from when our daughter was born.
When Taylor was born, yes. Yeah. We would never eat it.
I wouldn't either.
But it's just frozen.
We had it wrapped on there. It said, "Here she is."
It was a Hershey candy bar.
Without nuts. I was wondering whether I should say that second part. Hey, severe obesity can cut lives short by up to 14 years. Ooh, that's not good. That's according to a new study from the U.S. National Cancer Institute. A Charisma News article reported that a study found people who were considered severely obese can die much earlier due to the increased risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and other diseases. The study is based on 20 studies from the United States, Sweden, Australia, and other countries over the course of 30 years. So that's not good news. Scientists at Dalhousie University, I wonder if I said that right, it's in Nova Scotia. They have cloned fruit flies in the first successful cloning of insects. Why would you want to clone fruit flies? There's plenty of them already. So, is there any particular reason to do that?
I don't know why anybody. You don't want fruit flies around, period.
No. According to a new study, there's a link between seniors being heavy eaters and having memory loss. So, seniors who eat more forget more. And maybe that's why they eat more, because they forgot they already had lunch. I'm like, I'm still hungry, apparently. Hey, a D-Care dental insurance study found that the tooth fairy apparently has been struck by heavy inflation. While money left for the shed teeth ranged from 10 cents to $25, the average American child got $1.78 for a tooth last year, which is 12.4% higher than the year before's average of $1.58. So, inflation? Apparently, they must mean that the money is up, because that's more. They say that is a better return than stock market, by the way. So if you want to really cash in, just take all your teeth out.
Knock all your teeth out.
Now is the time to lose teeth, kids. I'm saying. Good market for tooth loss right now. And we'll look at our strange law. In the United States, it is illegal for the postmaster to shoot ducks.
Well, I would hope.
Just during his work hours or any time? That's kind of a weird law. The postmaster cannot shoot ducks.
Maybe just in uniform.
I don't know. Well, then we'll never have to worry about having Postmaster Cy, will we? Uncle Cy shooting ducks or being postmaster? Probably not. That's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. I've got a special guest on the line right now. We're going to be visiting with David Weber. He's an author. He's got a book called The Sword of the South, and we're going to be talking about why sci-fi and fantasy is more popular than ever. We've got movies out like Ant-Man and Jurassic World and all of these fun things that are coming out on TV and in the theaters. Comic-Con is huge, and we've got David here to chat about why that is. David, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very, very good. Now, why in the world is it that it seems like sci-fi is more popular than it has been in a long, long time? What's going on?
Well, I think a big thing that's going on is that Hollywood has discovered that it earns money.
Ah, there you go.
Well, okay, people get their entertainment in different ways. Okay, some people read, some people like electronic, and I think that for the folks who read for entertainment, fantasy and science fiction have always been very popular genres. A lot of the techno-thrillers are really science fiction in a way, near-future science fiction. People like Dean Koontz, who haven't been labeled as science fiction writers, write science fiction and fantasy, and it's just, you know, in the general mainstream. But the topics and the tools of fantasy and science fiction have been popular with the reading public for forever. I think what's happened in the last 10, 15 years, maybe longer, maybe starting with Star Wars, has been that the electronic entertainment industry has tapped into that in a way that it really hadn't before. If you go back to the 50s and the 60s, you'll see a whole lot of science fiction, monster movies, etc., but they weren't really considered respectable in a strange sort of way. It's kind of like science fiction and fantasy aren't considered to be respectable in some literary circles. But with the improvement in CGI and special effects and the move into better and better production values, fantasy and science fiction have just been given a whole new venue in many ways where movies and TV are concerned. And Hollywood has discovered that there doesn't seem to be a bottom to the audience's willingness to buy tickets to these, at least as long as they're well made.
When you've got somebody that's a fan of, let's talk about like Star Wars, you've got someone that likes Star Wars. They can't just like one character. They go all out. We've got a son that's really into that. And I'll tell you, they will spend a lot of money on something like that they like. And like you said earlier, I think when you see people spending money, you see a line of people saying, hey, I want to get in on that.
Sure. And consumers vote with their wallets all the time. I like to point out that the classics of literature are almost invariably those that were written for the popular audience, not for the intellectual elite. The people still read Mark Twain for pleasure. I don't know too many people who read Alexander Pope for pleasure anymore.
Sure.
So I think it's a mistake to regard popular literature, popular entertainment, popular movies as somehow inherently lowbrow. It's that there are certain universal values and emotional satisfaction quotients that I think popular literature provides. I think fantasy and science fiction are also popular. I tell people that they're both fairy tales. Science fiction is the fairy tale of a technological society, and instead of wood dryads and wizards, it has AI and scientists.
There you go.
Fantasy uses more of what we would think of as the classic fairy tale elements: elves, dwarves, the whole nine yards. And then there's urban fantasy, which kind of fuses the two. But the things that make them attractive to us are that science fiction is speculative. It's looking at a world that might be, could be someday. Fantasy is looking at a world that can never be, but that allows us a liberty to examine issues and beliefs that are important to our world. Like all fairy tales, they're teaching tales, they're cautionary tales, they're inspirational tales. They're just good fun, which is also very important when you're talking entertainment. But I think one thing that especially is attractive about fantasy to a lot of people is that we are creating a world out of whole cloth, let's say. It doesn't have a whole bunch of DNA from our present-day world in it. And that means that we can establish issues that are very much black and white for the reader. Now, we can have characters who are gray. We can have ways of dealing with those issues that are gray. But the readers can all agree, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. And I think that we feel that there's too much ambiguity in our actual lives. We're all too invested in our own partisan beliefs. If he's my guy in Washington, he's a paragon of all virtues. If he's your guy in Washington, he's a lying scumbag.
Yeah.
We don't really go too much anymore with somebody might just be wrong because they disagree with us, or
Sure.
even, God forbid, that we might be wrong because we disagree with him. In a fantasy environment, you can remove that ambiguity for the reader, and they can deal with a situation in which, however gray some of the intermediate issues may be, you have that sense of clarity about what's happening. And I think that coupled with the fact that people really, really like stories about people who take responsibility, who own their own actions, and who don't say, well, it's not my job to fix that. If it can be fixed and I can fix it, I'm supposed to fix it. I think that's another thing that really attracts people to both fantasy and science fiction.
Again, visiting today with David Weber. And David, we're going to talk now about your book, The Sword of the South. This is your latest, is that correct?
That's right. I think counting this one and another one I have coming out in October, I think I've got 63 novels.
So you've been a little bit busy, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I sold the first one in 1989. This one is a fantasy, not a science fiction novel. The bulk of my has been science fiction, not fantasy. This is the fifth novel set in the same fantasy universe, but it's actually starting a new cycle. It picks up about 70 years after the last book. And it's one of those, like I said, you can clarify good and evil in this one. Now, there's not going to be too much doubt on anybody's side who the good guys and the bad guys are.
Sure.
One of the things that I'm playing with in this one is the degree to which the decisions of mortal beings affect the ultimate outcome of the war between good and evil. The choices and the decisions that people make are critically important, even in a universe where you have omniscient deities and wizards and everything else kicking around. So I'm having fun with it. I think it's out technically this month, and then I have the next book coming out in October from my other publisher, which would be I think the 8th in the Safehold series with
Very
four.
nice.
And next weekend I will be in Washington at the National Book Festival.
Awesome. Well, we'll send folks out to see you there, but I'm going to send them to your website to learn more about your new book, The Sword of the South, and they can also, while they're there, learn more about all of the other books. DavidWeber.net is where you're going to want to go to learn more. David, thank you so much for taking some time to visit with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you have fun while you're out there in D.C. Talking about fantasy and sci-fi, I think that's probably more fantasy. A lot of the stuff that happens in D.C. just really makes you wonder. Well, thank you again. You have a great day.
You too.
Again, David Weber right there. Learn more about his book, The Sword of the South, and you can find that and many other books on his website, davidweber.net. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by carsforsale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at carsforsale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, the 31st day of August. That means today is the last day of this month. Did you know that?
I did.
That means tomorrow is September 1. Wow.
It is.
But let's not talk about tomorrow yet. Let's talk about today. It's International Overdose Awareness Day. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It is also Love Litigating Lawyers Day, which is fun to say.
Ah.
Love Litigating Lawyers Day. So love your litigating lawyer today. And make sure that you don't overdose on anything because it's Overdose Awareness Day. But it's also National Trail Mix Day, and that's the one I'm going to celebrate. You know how I'm going to celebrate?
How are you going to celebrate?
With some trail mix with my
And a
lawyer.
litigating lawyer.
And my litigating lawyer. No. Get out there and celebrate and have some fun doing it. It is the last day of August, the 31st of August on a Monday. Thanks for joining us.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
This next story reminds me of the honeymooners. You know why?
Why?
Because remember Ralph always said, to the moon.
To the moon, yeah.
Well, if you want to, maybe you're crowded in your neighborhood or whatnot, and you're wanting to find someplace else to settle down, buy an acre of property on the moon. The first real estate agent for land on the moon has opened, and you, for $22, can buy a 1-acre plot on the moon.
For $22.
$22, you can buy a plot of land on the moon. Now, I don't know that you can really do anything.
Get there.
Moonestates.com, not exactly sure how they got the rights to do this.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was wondering. How do they have the right to sell this land?
They probably just staked claim in it. But let's read the story. It says they're offering ownership as well as mineral rights to the land on the bright side of the moon, the side we can see, which is visible on Earth. Buyers will also receive a lunar constitution and a Bill of Rights, along with a map pinpointing their location of spot on the moon. What did I say? Dennis Hope, who laid claim to the entire land surface of the moon 20 years ago, opened the agency. Hope logged his claim with the U.S. and former USSR governments since then. More than 300,000 plots have been sold. Buyers include Star Trek cast, Clint Eastwood, several NASA employees. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 bans nations from owning territory in space, but it was silent on individual rights. So Dennis Hope snatched up the whole moon 20 years ago, and now he's selling it to you chunk at a time for $22 an acre. Huh. So we should buy a bunch of acres of land on the moon, and then we should build an advertisement for the John and Heidi Show that you can see when you look up into the sky. You think we could do that?
Well, I don't know how you
would
would
awesome.
get it there.
I don't know. That's not my problem. I'm just buying the land. Probably won't do that either. $22 an acre. That's a pretty good deal.
That is a good deal. It's a very good deal.
It's not bad. Can't move there or nothing, but it's a pretty good deal. All right, coming up, we have an ice cream man that apparently is nuts. We got a really fun story about an ice cream man that was working late. That's on the way in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream, but maybe not at this time. There was a dude that actually got called. The police called on him. There was an ice cream man that was cruising around. You know the tune, the ice cream tune?
Yeah.
Making all that noise?
Yeah.
Gets children's running outside for ice cream. Well, that whimsical note was, those tones were playing when they were cruising through at 11:20 at night.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know, a little over a half hour before midnight. Darlene Lane was inside her New York home drifting to sleep. She heard the jingle of an ice cream truck, and it woke her up. She lodged a complaint with the Babylon town officials. They agreed. The town board unanimously approved a resolution prohibiting vendors from driving in residential neighborhoods after sunset.
Well, that only makes sense. Who's he gonna? How many kids are out wandering around to buy ice cream?
At 11:20?
Right.
Who knows? Maybe he wasn't looking for the kids. He's looking for people who are leaving house parties or something. I don't know.
Could be.
Probably sold a lot of ice cream to drunk people. I have no clue. All I know is he won't be doing it anymore because now it's illegal, thanks to Darlene Lane. Coming up here, we're going to talk about you people who talk on your phone while you drive. And when I say you people, I mean me too. We're all going to look bad in just a moment. That's on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Heidi, do you ever talk on your phone while you're driving?
Yes.
Do I ever talk on my phone while I'm driving?
Always.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just admit that before I read this. According to a study in the Journal of Human Factors, even if you're calling hands-free, talking on your phone while driving can impair you more than being drunk.
Ooh.
Researchers monitored 40 volunteers who use a driving simulator while undistracted, using a handheld cell phone, using a hands-free phone, or legally intoxicated. The cell phone talkers were more likely to vary their speed or to rear-end another car, and they were slower to hit the brakes than other drivers. Talking on the phone requires you to pay attention to the person on the other end rather than on the road, according to co-author Frank Drews, Ph.D. Turn off your phone when you're in the car so you're not tempted to answer it, according to them. Now, here's what I think they should do. While you're taking your driving test, let me use my phone, and if I can pass the driving test while using my phone, I should get a thing on my... You're shaking your head. No, that doesn't translate well to radio.
No,
so
well, I didn't figure I even needed to say anything.
I'm saying if I can pass my test, I can get an endorsement.
I guarantee I am not the only one shaking my head.
If I get an endorsement to use my phone while driving, I should be able to.
But you can't. So you think you're multitasking. I watch you when you're swerving.
No, I'm not.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. Well, we'll have to agree to disagree. Ooh, I got to take this. This is a really important call. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to DollarShaveClub.com/radio to learn more. That's DollarShaveClub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. Surefire way to beat loneliness. Number 1. Contact others. Make a list of everybody you know and reach out to them regularly. No kidding. Is there anything after this one? Because that's a pretty good one. You're lonely.
End.
Reach out to somebody and talk to them. That is a surefire way to beat loneliness, isn't it?
Oh,
but there are more, Heidi, believe it or not.
Really?
The next thing on the list is get involved. No matter where you live and what your skill set are or your interests are, there are people who could use your help. Show interest in them, and it will bring joy to you. I can tell you that's so true. You can help no matter who you are, no matter where you are. You can find a way to get involved and help. Next, develop new dreams. Dreams give hope and spark to life. It says here, find new things to achieve. No one is ever alone who has a dream. And if that's the case, I'm never going to be alone. I have a lot of dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife over here, this beautiful woman that's on the radio with me, Heidi, she gets kind of frustrated with me.
I get very frustrated.
Because I just like to dream, that's all.
I don't mind 1 or 2 dreams, but when there's 60 dreams going on all at once and you can't focus on any of them, that's when it gets a little frustrating.
The worst thing for me to say in our household right now is, hey, I've got an idea. Usually that will result in a door slamming in my face and being locked so I can't get in the room. Like, I just wanted to talk to you about it. You don't need any more ideas. Next surefire way to beat loneliness, eat properly. Low blood sugar or improper diet can magnify your negative feelings. Make sure you check your food intake. Another way to beat loneliness, rest. Properly recharge your body. Tired people tend to lean toward their problems and respond negatively towards situations. So rest up and eat well. And the last thing is count right. Focus on the good things that have happened and are happening in your life. So when they say count right, they're saying count on all the good things.
Yep.
Count all the positive things that happen. And then you won't be nearly as lonely. There you go. Coming up, we're going to end with some really good news, and it's a neat story from Hawaii. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to end the program with some good news, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And I think this is really cool good news. A photographer in Hawaii was documenting the homeless, and she stumbled upon somebody she never expected to see. Her dad.
Oh.
Diana Kim, her father, owned a photography studio when she was a little girl. She grew up with a deep interest in the art form. Her parents separated when she was 5, and her father grew more and more distant until she lost touch with him completely, had no idea where she was. Then one day, she was documenting Honolulu's homeless, and she spotted her father among the people she was photographing. It took more than a year for Diana to break through, but she was finally able to enroll him in a mental health care center and get him the help that he needed. So how cool is that?
Huh.
So she was taking photos of people. She was trying to do this, a really good thing, do this really neat project that was going to, shed some light and hopefully help people find loved ones. And she found her loved one.
Huh.
And it was her father. And like I said in the story, he didn't know who she was. Now he's enrolled in a mental health care facility and hopefully will be able to regain functioning the way that he had in the past. And I think that'll be really cool. What a cool story. The entire world. She could have been anywhere in the world doing anything, and she ended up going to Hawaii and found her dad.
That's pretty cool.
I think we need to go to Hawaii.
My dad's not in Hawaii.
That's fine, but maybe we'll find somebody that's better than your dad when we go to Hawaii. I'm just kidding, Charlie. There's nobody better than you.
That's for sure.
If you don't know who Charlie is, tune in on Tuesdays. We talk to him every Tuesday. And if you listen once, you'll know that there is nobody better than that guy. At least nobody better to talk to about nonsensical things. All right, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the program Tuesdays with Charlie. And we got some other fun stuff coming up later in the week as well. I'll tell you all about it here in the next few days. Thanks for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break, only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And the bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. And I've got their little book here. It's called The Bathroom Minutes. Time well spent. We're going to read some more stuff from the bathroom minutes and other silly fun things as well. But let me tell you how to get a hold of the folks there. If you would like to buy some razors that are really good razors, do you like them?
Yes, I do.
Which ones do you like the best so far?
Well, I'm only allowed to use the middle ones, the middle level.
You can use whichever ones you want.
Oh, yeah. Every time I touch the executive, you freak out.
Just because I have them hidden in a different room now in the gun safe doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. Now, you can use them. They're all good. Do you like the middle ones all?
Sure.
I do too. They're good. And the executive ones are $9 a month. The ones that she uses are $6 a month. And then they also have the Humble Twin, and they're $3 a month. Any one of those. Now, I'd let you use the other ones, but I'm really thinking you should grow your beard out, Heidi.
Really? You think so?
Like you belong on Duck
My
Dynasty.
mustache?
She uses it on her legs, so I don't want you thinking she's a. I just thought that'd be kind of funny to make everybody picture you as a hairy woman. If you'd like to know more, go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, you've heard of Murphy's Law, right?
Yes, I have.
Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Well, there's some other laws, too, that you might not have heard of. Like Lorenzo's Law of Mechanical Repair. After your hands become coated with grease, your nose will begin to itch.
Ah.
And it's not just mechanical repair. Anytime you're working anywhere and you get your hands dirty, that's when your nose starts to itch. Always does. How about Beach's Law? Identical parts usually are not. So if they're supposed to be identical parts, they're not quite right. They don't work. Here's another one. Anthony's Law of the Workshop. Any tool, when dropped, will roll into the least accessible corner. I've noticed that before, too. Tussman's Law. Nothing is inevitable as a mistake whose time has come. Ooh. I don't really want to think that hard.
That one's...
I don't want to think that hard right now.
That one's deep.
Peirce Law. The solution to a problem changes the problem. I've seen that before, too. Hey, solved. Ooh, whole new problem now. How about Lowry's Law? If it jams, force it. If it breaks, it needed to be replaced anyway. I like that. It makes me feel better. And Williams' Law. There is no mechanical problem so difficult that it cannot be solved by brute strength and ignorance.
I've seen you try to utilize that law.
I've used several of those laws,
Yeah.
so I feel right now I'm kind of feeling really smart because I did it before even knowing that it was the cool thing to do.
Nobody said it was cool.
Oh, I just did, so there you go. Hey, in Oakland, California, Lawrence Lassiter found out the hard way that being a bank robber is not quite as easy as it seems. Lawrence walked into a bank, flashed a gun at the teller, and handed her a note demanding the cash. She gave him the money, and he was headed for the door when he saw 2 police cars pass by. Perhaps this frightened him, or maybe the whole situation maybe frightened him. Either way, he fainted right there in front of the bank.
Oh.
So he walked out the door, and there were 2 cops, and he's like, oh, you might not be cut out to be a bank robber.
No.
Another fun story here. After he was robbed of $20 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the robbery victim asked for his wallet back. The mugger was so nervous that he handed his own wallet over by mistake and took off.
What an
the
idiot.
thief's wallet contained $250. All he had was $20. He's like, hey, come on, I need my license, I need my stuff. Can I please have my money back?
That's funny.
Fine. Here's my wallet. So they both had to go get new licenses.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, now let's take a look inside of our fun little thing that was sent to me from our friends at the Dollar Shave Club. And it's not because I'm special. If you sign up, they'll send this to you as well. How about this one over here? We were talking about sleeping the other day, good power nap. How about sleeping late? It says here, wake up. A 1 p.m. wake-up call might sound luxurious after a few too many margaritas the night before, but oversleeping has been linked to medical problems such as diabetes and heart disease and increased risk of death. So really, it wouldn't kill you to wake up early. It would actually be better for you to wake up early. Who would you say would be a famous late riser? Is there somebody famous that you can think of that would be someone that probably slept in a lot?
Slept in a lot? No.
Yeah, you're gonna love this guy though. Winston Churchill.
Oh, I liked him.
He's a famous late riser. He liked to sleep in. So maybe that's why our son likes to
He's a
sleep
good
in.
man.
Yeah, he would wake up later in the day. So when they'd have meetings, they're like, don't do it too early.
You
He's
want
not
to
even going to be
schedule that
waking
for
up.
around 11:30.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in these little books they send out. And I get these with my razors every month, and you can get them too. All you got to do is sign up. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio.